If Jordan didn't have his gi on, right, he'd have that 6-pack. And Jordan's been working on it. He's got an 8-pack, so he's got the nice little bubbly 8-pack. So when I think about that bubbly 8-pack, and I want to stay on my side of the middle line, and then I can play around with where I want to be from there. I've got two really good options, but we'll talk about those options as we go along. So right now, don't put your knee on the far side 4-pack, put your knee on the inside 4-pack. And the reason I'm doing knee on the belly is because I'm frustrated. I want to finish him with all those movements that we did last week with the arm bars and the chokes and everything, but Jordan's just defended himself too well. So I'm here on the side, and he's protected. I can't get his collar, I can't get his arms. And, I got the top, but I can't do what I want with it. So you know what? I'm gonna punch him in the gut, basically, is kind of how you're thinking about it. So my hand back here is gonna hold his belt, and I'm gonna put my fist right on top of his hip bone. And that's gonna stop him from bumping and shrimping over there. This hand is gonna go thumb in the collar, and I'll put this fist on the ground. And then I'm just gonna do a push-up right into my position. This foot's out. It's got a slight bend in it so that I can move. I don't want it locked out straight, and I don't want it close enough for him to touch it. So he sticks his hand all the way out towards my foot. It's right at the end of his fingertips, which is a good distance over there. I started out with a push. Once I get to the knee, it's gonna be a pull. So fist on the hip bone, fist in the collar, push, pull, here. Right now, just for training and ease and convenience, my foot's still on the floor, so he's not eating all of my weight. But normally my foot would be off here, and I'd be driving a little more with my hips, putting more weight on there. And then I just want Jordan to move around a little bit so that I can get used to using this foot as a balance, staying out here. Let's try that a little bit. As we're here, like I said, my hand right here, right on that bone, thumb in the collar, popping up into this position. Jordan doesn't like this, so his hands start to move. I go right for the collar. So my hand from back here is just gonna shoot straight into the collar. I'm letting Jordan push my knee off the belly, which is what he wants to do. And then I'm bringing him in right in close for the choke. If I can, I bring his head to me. It's a little bit easier if I go to him. I want him nice and close. And then the motion for the choke is the same. Jordan's happy, gets to push the knee off the belly. I'm happy, I get my grips on the choke. But allow him to push your knee off. So as he starts to push, you gotta lift your foot up off the floor a little bit so it can slide. Let it hit the floor. My hand goes in nice and deep. Bring everything close. Finish the choke right here. Let's start with that one. But everything else I'm doing same. So I get my grips. I'm here. He starts to push on the knee. My hand from the belt goes to his wrist. Again, I let him push, and this time I pull this collar. He wants to put his back flat on the ground. I don't want that to happen, so I'm pulling on the collar. I'm gonna step and point my knee into the back of his shoulder. As I do that, this hand's gonna start to shoot through as I center up for the Kimura. Elbow up, hand back. So initially, foot's out, knees in. Don't let him put his back flat on the ground while I get my grip. So we start out same here. He grabs, I grab, pull, step, turn the knee into a shoulder. Catch my grips, center up, finish the Kimura. Let's try that out. Suffer a little bit. So I'm talking about that 8-pack. I want you to think about moving your knee around a little bit. So the very top little sliver up here, if I take my knee, it's right underneath the rib cage, and I go down and up into the rib cage, it's very, very suffering over there. And I found over the years that the bottom one that just connects to the hip bone, if I sink underneath that hip bone, that one does a lot of discomfort as well. So somebody had mentioned this earlier, like, well, what if I just keep my hands up here and I don't move my hands so you can't choke me and you can't armbar me? Then I should submit you with a knee to the belly. The knee to the belly should be a submission. A lot of times, because Jordan's hips are oval and my knee is flat, I put my knee across as a controlling instrument. And we use that from time to time, especially if I was in a fight and I just wanted to hold him here while I did what I was gonna do. But when I'm training and I'm limited in what I'm capable of doing, then the knee should be a suffering position. And if he wants to eat it, he should tap from the knee. Otherwise, all he has to do is move his hands and the knee will go away. So don't hurt your partner necessarily, but start to get into those positions here where I'm up and I start driving and I start moving that knee around so you can feel those different places where it's going. And guy on the bottom, move around a little bit so I can ride him. But like I said, feel that adjustment on those knees. And the guy on the bottom can give you some feedback as well. Yeah. So everything's same. Catch the collar, catch the belt, make my motion over here. He's still pushing on the knee, but this time when he pushes on the knee, I can see light through this hole. So since I can see light through that hole, I'm gonna stick my hand through there and grab the back of his tricep. Don't put your whole arm in there, just the hand right here. I'm gonna pull his elbow into my chest and step over the head and sit over there a little bit. So I pull, I step and turn, and I end up in that armbar position. This foot doesn't go over, it stays right here. And I work on the armbar here. If for some reason there's an interruption in this process, the first thing that happens is this leg comes over. We'll talk about that later. Right now, let's just work on this position here, keeping the knees tight and working on that. Let's switch it over. So big step, hold on to that elbow so you got a good spin over there. Knees are nice and tight. And since you're holding on to the elbow when you sit back, you don't have to worry about too much hurting your partner's arm. And you just go up to the wrist. So the rest of the move's not too hard. Let's try that a little bit. Great, I'm here. He's pulling on my elbow. So as he's making the movement here, he can go fast as he wants. Sit back as hard as he wants because my arm is bent here. So there's no danger. And he can work on 90% of the position here. And then he can work on the finish. So later on, you know, we're in some type of combat. He catches the wrist instead of the elbow. Now it's different. Now just the motion of him moving is gonna take that with him. So don't be afraid to go a little bit faster to get into those positions, because sometimes you need to move a little bit faster to get your body to get there. But do it safe with that elbow.